Welcome to the third video in our ELITE Method Toolkit tutorial series. In this video, I'm going to cover how to use the Stages of Change Matrix tool for Step 2, Learn. It's important that you've done Step 1, Examine, before getting to this point, because everything builds on what you did in the step prior. So if you haven't yet watched the first video, go ahead and do that now. You can find a link to the full playlist of tutorial videos in the description below and in the PDF guide you received via email. In the last video, we renamed your Stages of Change Matrix tab to the name of the role you want to prioritize. In our example, that role was HR leaders. With that role in mind, we're going to start with an empathy exercise. What we need to do is understand, who is this person who is an HR department leader? What is that person's day-to-day life like? What responsibilities do they have? What things do they care about? You filled in a lot of helpful information in your target audience roles tool, so you're likely going to be toggling between that tab and this tab as you work through building your psychological profile. If you start to struggle with filling in your Stages of Change matrix, remember to go back to your target audience roles tool to get back into the headspace of the person you want to reach. Now, a big part of this entire toolkit is the stages of change. There are several psychological principles embedded in our ELITE method. One of the biggest is the Stages of Change model, which is a model I used frequently in my time as a counselor running substance abuse groups and working with individuals in rehab facilities. In psychology and substance abuse counseling, the stages of change are pre-problem awareness, pre-contemplation, contemplation, decision, and action. We've adapted this model, which helps people change the most ingrained behaviors driven by chemical dependence and deep psychological wounds to inform a robust marketing strategy that will help your ideal buyers change their behavior from either doing nothing or buying from your competitors to buying from you. Those stages are pre-problem awareness, problem awareness, brand and solution awareness, consideration, evaluation, decision, and action. And finally, while most marketers will tell you that there are 4 stages to the sales funnel, at Cornell, we believe there are 5. The 5th stage of the sales funnel is retention. Your marketing cannot end at the sale, or else you will leave your prospects feeling as though all they are to you is a dollar sign. Your marketing, education, and support of your clients must continue through the final stages of change: retention, collaboration and enhancing insights, and collaboration rewards. Folding that post-conversion experience into your marketing ensures that A, you're creating a positive experience for your buyers where they feel like they're getting the most out of what they were promised and what they paid for. B, you're educating your buyers to be successful customers and clients, thereby improving the results your company is able to drive. And C, you're collecting valuable information about your successes to use in marketing content, copy, and sales assets. Now, let me explain a bit about each of these stages. First, pre-problem. At this stage, the person that you're trying to reach doesn't have the problem that you can solve. They haven't yet gotten to that point. Maybe because their team isn't large enough, maybe because they haven't hit a critical stage in their development, or maybe because they're behind the times and they haven't yet adopted the technology that your solution relies on. The line between the pre-problem stage and the pre-problem awareness stage is very similar to the one separating bad customers or clients from your ideal customers or clients. So while this stage can often trip people up, think of it from the perspective of what makes a client ready for what you have to offer versus not ready. If they're not ready for you, then they're in the pre-problem stage. Next, we have pre-problem awareness. At this stage, the prospect has the problem that you can solve, but they're not aware that it's a problem. They're unaware of how much the problem is costing them in terms of time, energy, money, and frustration. And this is the perfect place to poke that pain point and draw greater attention to the pain and develop awareness around what it's really costing them. At the problem awareness stage, the prospect is now aware there's a problem, but they're not yet aware that there's a solution. With the added awareness, their costs, whether it's time, energy, money, or frustration, seem amplified. This is the perfect place to empathize with the prospect and show that you understand their pains while also making them feel unique, special, or extraordinary for dealing with the problem. Next, we go to brand and solution awareness. At this stage, the prospect is aware that there's a solution for their problem, and our goal is to ensure that they find your solution. Specifically, they need to instantly recognize your offer as a match for the relief they're seeking from the pains they've been dealing with. Next, we have consideration. At this stage, the prospect needs to feel as comfortable with you as possible. They should be able to explain quickly and easily in their own words who you are, what you do, what you offer, and 2 to 3 reasons why you're different or better than alternative options. Anticipating and answering all questions is critical at this stage. In the evaluation stage, the prospect is evaluating their options, including you and a few competitors. This is where you're going to be scrutinized against your competition and, more challengingly, the option to not change at all. Oddly enough, as a quick side note, this is the stage of change that companies are most comfortable with. Most marketing teams thrive on talking about features, benefits, and budgets. But as you can see, there's a huge portion of your market that isn't ready for this stage of the conversation yet, so you're not getting them into your pipeline. Next, we have decision. At this stage, prospects tend to lean heavily on logical rationales to justify what they emotionally want to do. The first 6 stages of change provide all of the emotional ammunition they need. Then, this is where you equip them with the logical aspects that will look good on paper to company leaders. At the action stage, prospects tend not to make the decision to buy and then immediately act. More often, they decide, waffle, take steps toward action, waffle again, and then finally pull the trigger. At this stage, you need gentle ways to continue engaging with them and facilitating the final sale. Now remember, we're not just going to stop at the sale. You need to make sure that your hard-won customers don't have buyer's remorse and that they can be future marketing assets for you. On the other side of the conversion is retention. It's far cheaper to retain an existing customer than to win over a brand new customer. Therefore, you need a way to thoughtfully show your customers that you're grateful for them, remind them of the value and care that you provide, and help them become better customers. One huge reason that tech companies lose customers and have dissatisfied customers is because of poor adoption. If your customers don't feel at home with you, you're giving them reason to leave. Retention is all about making them feel comfortable and as if they can't imagine their life without you. Next is collaboration and enhancing insights, which is where we identify the best customers who are going to become spokespeople for your brand. They provide valuable feedback and insights on how you can improve your offerings, and you want to single out, honor, and truly validate your very best customers. This is the time to find out how you can invite them to collaborate with you and make your offers better. You may create an exclusive community, invite them to participate in a customer interview, or do a case study on your work with them. And finally, under collaboration rewards, once a customer has contributed feedback, insights, or word of mouth marketing or promotion, you need to show them your gratitude. Investing in your very best customers, whether that's with monetary or redeemable rewards, or with exclusive content or service enhancements, will shorten the buying journey for leads that they send your way. And now that you understand more about the stages of change, you can see that if you support your prospects through every step of this change model, you're going to create that seamless bridge between where they are and your brand. Also, if your company has long sales cycles, capturing people earlier on in the process is a great way to fill your pipeline and accelerate those cycles because you're getting more time with more prospects. And not only that, but you're also going to have a fully thought out retention strategy to make sure that your churn is low and your growth predictability is high. Now, to fill out your stages of change matrix, the first step is to create your definitions. This is a really helpful exercise to get into the mindset of the person that you're trying to reach and also have a reference point as you work, because as we build out the stages of change matrix, there's a lot of information in here, and you're going to need to be able to put yourself back in that person's shoes every step of the way. We need to start by asking ourselves, for HR leaders in our example, who are in the pre-problem stage, what is their mindset? What are they thinking about? What are they dealing with? What is their life like on a day-to-day basis? Add a few notes about their mindset at each stage throughout the journey. Also, ask yourself, what's the requirement for them to move to the next stage? For example, what needs to happen in order to move them from pre-problem awareness, where they're struggling but they don't know why, to problem awareness? Once you have your definitions in place, and you can reference these as you work through your matrix, the next step is to fill out the learn section. This is where we want to learn the psychology of our ideal buyer. Think through the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that your prospect is experiencing at each stage of this funnel. In behavioral psychology, there's what's called the CBT triangle, and that stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy Triangle. In cognitive behavioral therapy, the premise is that how we experience the world and what we think influences how we feel and our emotional reactions to things, which then drives our behaviors. And we continue to cycle around and around and around because our behaviors affect how we experience the world and what we think, which then affects our emotions and then affects our behaviors. So it's a cyclical process. And if you're not happy with how you're feeling, thinking, or acting, you need to change what's happening in the step before it. So, for example, if someone is unhappy in their relationship and they feel triggered by something their partner says, which sends them into an emotional tailspin and perhaps even self-destructive behaviors, then the CBT therapist would guide this person to examine the thoughts that are leading to the emotional reaction. They would encourage the person to ask, what else could be true? Instead of thinking, my partner is picking on me and trying to make me feel terrible, perhaps they could think, my partner doesn't realize what they're saying is hurtful. Then, suddenly, the emotional reaction is lessened and the behavior changes from something destructive to something constructive, such as having an open and honest conversation with the partner about how those comments make the person feel. Now, think about how this is useful in marketing. If you can understand what your prospect is thinking, feeling, and doing at every stage, and what they want to think, feel, and do, then you can tap into the powerful force of psychology-driven marketing by helping them think something different, which can lead to different emotions and behaviors. The Learn section is the most important part of your entire ELITE Method Toolkit. This is the section where we psychologically profile the internal experiences and the external behaviors that you can then influence with your marketing later. In the implement stage, we'll plan out what types of content you need to create to affect those changes. So as you go through the stages of change, revisit what you identified as the mindset of your target individual up here. And then what is required for them to think, feel, and do in order to move them to the next stage. Remember that you're focusing on one role. So in our example, HR leaders. Then think through, what are their desired goals? What are their goals and their desired material gains? What are their beliefs about your solution, about your industry, about your competitors? What objections do they have when they're at this stage of the buyer journey? And what pains are they suffering from? Then think through, what are their goals and desired experiential gains, not just material world gains, but what do they want to experience? Maybe they want to feel like they've had an impact on their company. Maybe they want to feel innovative, looked up to, admired, trustworthy. What emotions are they currently feeling? Are they feeling stress, sadness, frustration, anger? And what are their big ego drivers? This is where you think about, what are they trying to achieve in life? How do they want to be seen? And what aspects of human interaction could make them feel better about themselves? Now, a quick note on this. A lot of marketers turn to the dark side here. They use manipulative tactics that make people on the receiving end feel bad, stupid, in lack, or other negative emotions. But aside from the ethics of all that, which we could spend hours talking about, what you have to remember is that positive emotions are tied to stronger and longer lasting memories. If you can make someone feel joy, pleasure, happiness, belonging, or pride, you're going to stand out in their minds on a subconscious level. And this is what leads people to say to their peers in the boardroom, oh, I know this company is more expensive than the others, but I really like them and they have my vote. Next, we go into behaviors. This is where it's important to identify, what are they actually doing behaviorally? What questions do they want to ask? They might be asking those questions to specific people. So who are they talking to? Where might they be asking these questions? Are they using specific platforms? And are they actually engaging in shopping behavior? Now, it's highly likely that you won't have anything filled in for this shopping via row until you get farther down the stages of change, closer to brand and solution awareness, problem awareness, and so on. And that's okay. The point is not to fill in every single cell because it's there. The point is to create a fully formed psychological profile of your target buyer with the most helpful and relevant insights. Step 2, learn, is the part of building out your strategy that will take you the most time. It's extremely time consuming, and rightfully so. If you're trying to reach your ideal buyer and you're trying to do it from a positive psychology perspective where you're making them feel good, making them feel supported, and making them feel understood, making them feel heard, then you need to do that. You need to hear them, understand them, research what they're saying online, talk to people who have closed deals with you in the past and you would like more clients similar to. Use every resource at your disposal, including talking to your sales team, your marketing associates, and your customer support staff to figure out what are our ideal clients really thinking, feeling, and doing. As you build this out, this is going to be your secret weapon that's going to help you stand apart from the competition. Because while some companies think they're going through this process, they're not doing it in a way that's detailed, organized, and visually shows them where they have gaps in their marketing strategy and where they need to improve to make sure that they're not losing people along the way. So take your time with this step. It's going to set you up for success. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to use the Stages of Change Matrix tool for step 3, implement. Remember, I'm walking you through our ELITE method, and it's important that you follow the steps in order. ELITE, examine, learn, implement, transform, enhance. Subscribe to the playlist in the description below to make sure you get all of the tutorial videos so I can help you build your psychology-driven marketing strategy every step of the way.